Welcome to the Business Unwrapped podcast, where business owners share their challenges and success with us. Today, I am excited to welcome Simon Nestle, the Managing Director of Hybrid Teams. Simon, welcome, and it's great to have you with us today.
Likewise, it's wonderful to be here.
Simon, how do you make AI, machine learning, affordable for small and medium-sized businesses?
That's a fantastic question. I've been working in advanced technologies, artificial intelligence, automation, machine learning, and visualization for about 25 years. And during that time, I've seen the cost for companies start from being really expensive, millions upon millions of pounds invested in the data centers, people, the mathematicians, the data scientists, the engineers. And really what's changed in the last 7 years is the impact of Amazon's AWS service, Microsoft Azure, and Google's cloud services. This has made all businesses, whether large or small, have had the ability to pay per use, and therefore the cost of using these advanced technologies have come down to the level which is truly accessible from the smallest entity to mid-sized companies. One of the things I really like about the shift in artificial intelligence and machine learning is that many mid-sized companies have seen value of outsourcing and offshoring or nearshoring. So they're able to employ the mathematicians, the data scientists, the data engineers for sensible salaries. When paired with machine learning and AI technologies, which are costing organizations £100 to £300 a month to start, this becomes a truly affordable solution to learn about the technology, how it can be used, and then have teams of people think through the really big challenges within their business that they'd like this technology to address and come up with solutions to fix.
All right. And talk to me, give me a case study or an example where you've actually worked with a small or a medium-sized business and you've introduced machine learning or artificial intelligence into the company.
It's a really interesting question. One of our clients is a mid-sized company. And if you think of any organization that's selling product on the web, they have a small warehouse, which is sufficient for their needs. And they purchase product from suppliers all over the globe, bring those products into their warehouse, incentivize their marketing and sales people to really make that product visible through platforms such as Amazon.com. And then Amazon, as a result of those transactions, provides an enormous amount of information back to that organization. The challenge, of course, that organization has is a mid-sized company. They're given this enormous data from Amazon, and it's very difficult to see the information quickly that's valuable versus information that's just too much. And so we were able to sit down with their board and their sales director and marketing director and start understand what were their biggest challenges. Challenges typically came down to one set of challenges which have become the sort of thing that's quite common. The marketing people would say, we've worked with the teams that order product, really understood what those products are and who will be the buyer of those products. We've worked really closely with the sales team. We've done a huge amount of work to raise the visibility of that product. The sales team then don't do the job we think they're going to do. Either they sell all of the product super fast and we're left scrabbling because there's nothing in the warehouse, or we're going to criticize the sales team because they've done their job super well, but it's all still sitting in the house. We can't really tell what's happened with this journey of ordering product, getting into the warehouse, days in the warehouse, how much work the marketing team needs, how that relates to the sales team activity, and then the product shipping and being like, this is such an interesting challenge. It affects everyone. And
Right.
so we put a really small team, one mathematician, one data scientist, one data engineer. So when you think of a team of 3 people, you're not thinking of a huge experience. This really is very modest. Sat down and listened to what they needed. We were able to look and use machine learning AI to literally suck in the invoices from suppliers, use their ERP system to tell the date those products came in. We're able to see how long they sat in the warehouse. We're able to bring in report the marketing team made. We're able to see the sales data generated by the commercial. Fuck in the data from Amazon. Really go through that data to find out what's useful and fluff. Get rid of all of that sort of unnecessary data. And then we had a picture that we used, called visualization. Put it beautifully up on the screen, like PowerPoint. You can see in a very visual, easy to consume, this is what's happening. And it was a revelation. All in all, that project took about 5 weeks to do, from the start dates to the end of the project. And the client really couldn't believe that, because it changed the communication style between each of the different departments. It helped everybody work together because they had a much better understanding of what colleagues were doing. And it was a lot of fun for all.
Okay. And talk to me about, you said it took 5 weeks. So how long did it, what was it affordable? What was the range that the company looks to invest in such kind of, I would say, in project with you?
I would say if you look at projects like that, the budget is between £15,000 and £20,000 before tax. So it's not really, and the cost of the technology to do this is very modest. In fact, one of the things that's so lovely about these projects are they're so small in terms of the volume of people involved, time involved, and gives a lot of confidence to everybody, because there isn't this promise of, we'll come back in 6 months with an answer. We'll come back in 2 weeks with something for you. It's as quick as that. If you look at all of what I'm, of course, of project sponsors and anyone who's a stakeholder, their ability to feel I invested in the project, or then say, no, we're not so sure we believe these guys, it appears really fast because there's to hide.
Yeah. Okay. And what did the company see, or this particular e-commerce company say, before and after implementing your outputs, basically?
There was a lot of savings made. Some of them are direct, some of them are indirect. So the first thing we helped do was to recognize that until the day we were working with it, they had everything as a product. So imagine kind of someone saying, let's say, here's a thermos bottle with a product code 001. When I look at the ERP system, it says that you have one pallet of these, let's say, 250 thermoses. Okay, but how long have the individual bottles or the individual pallets been in the warehouse? Warehouse managers would say, no, they really can't see how quickly individual units go through. So we help in really simple putting QR codes every pallet and every object made sense. And so that QR code had a product code and a serial code. And so effectively, when you order the product, the clock starts. When the product is delivered at the door, a QR code is literally a C label is applied to, let's say, the container. And we can then say, this is the amount of time it's in the warehouse. You can then see if you, let's say, the marketing team selling that product, how many specific products were sold over a window of time. When did that go up and down? See the peaks, see different days, the different times, how quickly, how all of this dynamic. You can see what last in, first out. You can see how well the warehouse actually managed that journey of product coming through the warehouse. And management were able to very quickly then look at the flow of product. One of the things that they had thought about is how much product we need in the warehouse. So you don't have too little, just the right Goldilocks volume, or far too much. Very difficult to do that with technology. If you take a huge organization, you could buy, let's say, SAP. You could buy, let's say, Microsoft Dynamics. These are fantastic platforms. They don't typically have AI and machine learning embedded in them yet to give you that flow. We connect into those existing tools. That's how you get the data and visualize it. And we were able to say to the procurement team, you're working with your suppliers, or negotiate the best rate to purchase these items, then negotiate a slightly more expensive rate so that you can get them this afternoon, tomorrow, within 3 days. And procurement were a bit like we to negotiate, because if the marketing and sales team are now selling a product and it's really moving, you can see product dropping off in terms of the volume in the warehouse. And you can very quickly go to 2 or 3 or 4 suppliers and be willing to pay more so
Yes.
that you have those products refilled and refreshed, and you can continue success that you're having. So we saved them a lot of money in terms of not having to change their underlying technology. So there was no license fee changes, no project implementation costs. We saved them a lot of money because we were able to help them optimize the volume and quantity of individual lines within their work. And we were able to save money because the procurement teams were able to say, maybe some of the products that are slower moving, we pay our suppliers to keep in their warehouse. And so our warehouse has naturally become 50% bigger in terms of its overall capacity, because we don't just quite need that stuff sitting in the house now. We might need
Correct.
16 or 17 of this unit to sell over a 3-month period. It makes more sense to supplier A, B, and C hold that on our behalf.
I could see that now having a massive impact to the whole kind of life cycle of the supply chain out there, and ultimately saving costs for the company. Simon, let's move on to what are the key trends in AI that business owners should be aware of?
Trends is an interesting one. I think everybody has been really by the impact of ChatGPT and other large language models that have burst into the market in the last year. I know very few people aren't receiving emails today, throwing the email into, let's say, OpenAI's ChatGPT, say to ChatGPT, what is this person trying to ask me to do? And it will say, I'll summarize the email. So it really is, they want A, B, C, D, and I know what they truly want, rather than sometimes the fluffy emails we all.
Yes. Yeah.
Then you can say back to, let's say, ChatGPT, I really want a person who's going to read it, my recipient, to take away A, B, C, and D when they read this email. Can you generate a reply for? And ChatGPT, there we go, and there it is. Wouldn't it be brilliant if you could just copy that, put that in the email, fire it off to the person? That person would say, that's brilliant. It sounds like. The challenge is it doesn't. It sounds just like ChatGPT.
Exactly.
So many of us are asking ChatGPT, generate a response, I'll rewrite it in my own way. It's inspired by ChatGPT. That's a very long way from really artificial machine learning. It's a fantastic, wonderful, awesome solution between technology and one individual. It isn't just scaling to it. What we're really finding is organizations looking, how can they use this technology in a team of people? And the thing I'm saying to them is, talk to every single person that you know, whether they be another business owner, whether they work for a mid or larger size organization. Who's got it? Which one of your friends says, oh yeah, we use this every single day and I know it's an ally. Brilliant. Can you introduce me to one of your colleagues who sponsored this project, who was on the design team that thought about the way the technology should be put together? What did you learn as you put it together? How can we be inspired by your platform? I've asked this of everybody for the last year, and almost nobody in a small or mid-sized company says, yes, we've achieved this, it works well. So I would say there's a lot of sort of passion around AI. Many people are trumpeting and saying it's wonderful. However, if you were to treat this technology more in the way that you would treat any other project, where, okay, where's the business case? How are we going to do this? What's the return on investment? Where are the guardrails to make sure that we don't have poor information coming back? If few people have achieved that in their organization. I talk to people who are so excited about this. I have to temper their excitement and ask them these questions. Have you achieved that? And many of them scratch their heads thinking about it. No. Okay, we can help you, but let's rein this into something that's a little more modest so
Right.
that you don't have some of the challenges. And there's some brilliant examples out there where we've gone a little bit awry.
Give me an
So
example.
there's an airline,
Mhm.
and they introduced an LLM to serve their customer client services. LLMs are naturally creative, and the way that this technology works is super clever mathematical model that works out what is the next word, and then what's the next word after, and the next word after. It isn't really a strategic, let's say, lawyer who's sitting there thinking, okay, in my 20 years, this is where we should be thinking about, these are where the protections that we need to put in place. And so, because it's thinking, how do I just create a word,
Mhm.
it suggested terms and conditions which weren't actually the case. And of course, the airline then had to honor those terms and conditions, because when a human being looks at technology, unfortunately, we're programmed, if something is down, it's pretty much the truth. It's why we're so reliant on newspapers and magazines. And for news from we, this is the case. And so they would quite happily take this content and show customers. Customers would expect that would be the true conditions. And when they would, the airline had to honor those terms.
Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. So from what I'm hearing is business owners or decision makers need to be aware of they're introducing AI or machine learning as a new product or service. What are the kind of opportunities and threats of risk, and also having sufficient controls around them and legal guidance to ensure that it's fit for purpose and also going to add to the bottom line. Right. Okay.
100%. And when I look at the work this is absolutely the bread and butter of your business. In many respects, if you take all business leaders, we wouldn't probably hire interns and then let them loose in the company, ordering product, talking to clients, allowing them to do everything without having a lot of coaching oversight from other
Yeah.
people in the business to coach them to work the way that we want.
Understood. And Simon, talk to me. What new opportunities do you see on the horizon for your company and the industry as a whole?
I think there's an amazing opportunity for mid-sized and early stage. I think AI is really going to help, because let's talk about early stage companies for a split second. And if I'm thinking in terms of more information for for let's say entrepreneurs starting an early stage company,
Sure.
the first thing is they have this huge benefit because they're not encumbered by all of the existing tech and systems they put in. They're quite literally looking at a blank sheet of paper. This is fantastic because it's a bit like having a jigsaw puzzle that you're going to design and then take a blank sheet of paper and what is going to be really important to my business? What information do we need to know? What information are we going to want to make decisions based on? You don't need to have all of that information now. You just need to have an idea in your mind. This is important. So you could say to yourself, as an example, if we're going to have a marketing, let's say, consultant who's going to work for us as an early stage company, and they're going to
Right.
do, let's say, 2 days a week, what are we going to say to that marketing consultant? What are the goals and objectives we want them to achieve? If we know the goals and objectives are, we're going to say to them, you're the professional, help me understand how you will achieve those goals and objectives. They can quantify in a level of detail. Now we can, as the marketing consultant, where would you find that information? And they might say, we'll find that from our CR. We'll find that from, let's say, an email marketing tool. This is where that information will reside. Brilliant. This becomes the feed of your information into one fantastic tool called Google BigQuery. And so
Right.
even if you don't purchase a license, you know you're going to have information from various sources and you know where you can place it. So as that consultant comes in and says, oh, this $50 here, $10 here, all of that information is filtering into Google BigQuery. Now, as an early stage entrepreneur, you might say, geez, I don't know what I'm going to do with that information. Don't worry about it. You've got it in one single place, in the right place. And you can turn around and make some really important rules at the beginning. So if I just take a really simple example, gender. We have
Right.
the masculine and feminine. But when we implement, you could have male with a capital, female with a capital and small f, and maybe no value because someone hasn't collected it. You can stipulate that at the beginning and you can take these as rules. Again, you go through the rest of your business, things, sales and operation. It'll all trickle into Google BigQuery. Then you can say after 6-7 months, let's think about what we do with information. Now you can get yourself a mathematician and a data scientist from fantastic locations such as Turkey, India, Eastern Europe. These are
Right.
amazingly skilled people, and they're going to turn around and take your business from a modest business into super high performing business because they're going to say to you, you've already thought about where to source this information. You've put it historically in a single place for me to look at.
Correct.
You quite literally wrap up in a beautiful present with a little around it and say, there you go, have fun and tell me what we have. And quite literally, they can come back to you and say, this is what's happening in your organization. And you can also say to yourself, because these are not super expensive people, as an example, you turn around and find that person doesn't deliver, you can then turn around and place that person with a different person at low cost. And this is a journey you can go on where you're saying, I'm adding just one person to my business on a fractional basis, and they'll generate an enormous value for you over a long.
Got it. And Simon, let's look at a slightly different use case, right? So let's say you have a sales department and the marketing department. They have tons of data of prospects and existing customers in their CRM.
Yeah.
They know that they can mine a lot of intelligence out of it, but they do not know how. So it's an unknown. You have the CEO or the founder actually saying, yeah, how can we get Simon's team in, and how can we actually get them to make sense of the data that we have to increase sales and to obviously grow the profits of the business. Typically, it's an unknown. They're coming to a company like yours. What are some of the things that they need to be aware of, or what are some of the things you can guide them on to help them make that decision forward? We spoke about the e-commerce. Now it's slightly on service-based companies out there.
Service-based companies have got similar challenges. The way for service-based companies to think about advanced technology, artificial intelligence, automation, and machine visualization, how to understand that, is to treat the services that they provide as products. It's just not a physical. Create your services based on them. Then you have a virtual warehouse. And so you just don't have to worry what's in your virtual. What you think of then is, if you have your services, how many of those services are being sold? I'll give an example.
Sure.
Suppose for a minute we take Mike,
Yes.
the mathematicians, the data scientists, the engineers, and software developers. Mathematician be a service product. We typically have several clients working with us at any one time. And so effectively, almost look at it as being, we have 6 or 7 mathematicians on this particular project, and therefore we have sold this product to this one client. And in that way, yes, it's a business and nuance and service.
Yes.
However, you're able to collect the data in the very same, all of the structure that for marketing, all of the structure you think in terms of the sales data that you put in a CRM is there well, and all of that trickles through to, let's say, client services, happen when things go wrong. And critically, of course, early stage and mid-sized companies, quickly do get paid. And so all of that can be visualized. And so for an entrepreneur, I think one of the things advanced technologies can really help is reducing the number of days before your client pays. Certainly if you look at contracts which are based on the delivery of certain things, you can use advanced technology to track what are those deliverables, and you can use AI to flag up when those have been achieved. And many of the projects that we've worked in, one of the things that we've done is use automation. So many people are used to receiving an automated email. Spam email is something all very used to deleting quickly. Automated email, when it comes from a system where it's something you're heavily involved in, you treat it part of the process. So we'll send our clients an automated email that says, for this particular project, this week or this month we've achieved A, B, C, D. Do you agree, or are there some minor changes for you to be satisfied with this work? It's amazing when you're able to do that, because clients will say three or four of them, three deliverables out of four. You delivered to, that's great. But the fourth deliverable, we were actually expecting totally different. Can you make this change for it to be perfect? You could say, why would you want to have a transparent dialogue with your customer? But they are your customer. If your customer is truly happy and they have a great service, they're most likely going to ask you to provide more. We aren't too concerned about saying to the customer, have we done everything we feel tasked? Do you feel we've done everything we were tasked? And when they say, yes, that works really well, there's an awful lot of companies that benefit from having that's a super important piece of automation.
Got it. Excellent. And Simon, what are some of the challenges you've faced in the industry and how are you overcoming them?
The biggest challenge is actually not the technology.
Okay. Is it a mindset thing?
Yeah, totally. And there are three real mindsets. There's the ones that have jumped in both feet and they're ready to go. Where'd they go? They've already run off with the product. Tell me, we want AI, we want machine learning. What's it going to do? Don't know, but I want it. Okay, later, guys, come back. Let's sit down at the table. And we get a lot of the other side of the table. Oh, we've been doing this for years. Need to do this. Don't need to think about it. We're just good. I worry a lot about those individuals because in 5 years' time, they are going to be the ones that have missed out and to be playing catch up. Because you don't have to be the leader in it. You don't have to be the first with the flag to say, done this. To have somebody in the pack in the middle, where you don't want to be is that group of people right at the very back. There's a lot of catch to do that. And then it can become complex and very costly. Whereas doing small bits now can be incredibly inexpensive and delivered very quick. That group I worry. The group in the middle are the ones that provide the biggest challenges, but they're the ones that start asking all the questions. We may have allocated, let's say, 6 weeks to do the project,
Okay.
but not taken into account Tim and Mary who want everything as we go along. This is really interesting. Can you sit down for an hour and a half and explain how this all works and where the data's coming from and why the data? You really want to say yes. At some point, you have to say no, because otherwise you'll be there 3 months later, still educating the people.
Yes.
And it's fun.
I'm sure it is fun. And Simon, last question. What is the advice you would want to give any entrepreneur, business owner, or any management board listening into this session if they want to embark on this journey or even if they've started on this journey?
Take away you listen to this podcast from me is if you go back about 30 years, everyone was walking with Nokia phones.
Okay. I remember those ones. Yeah.
You had the ability to call people and the ability to text people, and the people who the new phones when they had that capability, walking, look how shiny and wonderful it is. And others were we've lived forever without this mobile technology. It's not unnecessary. It's not going to take off. Then fast forward a little bit further and BlackBerry appeared, and the biggest companies, the most important people in those organizations had access to their email on the go. And people scratched their heads and said, what could possibly want this for? Then that technology trickled down a little bit and people were suddenly messaging each other in real times. They had email in real times. Apple came along with this small device called iPhone, and Android came along around the same time. And people who were really bought into the BlackBerry ecosystem looked at the iPhone and it's music, it's calendar, it's all your contacts, it's the internet, and it's your phone. don't need all of that capability. Then social media came along and added all of that extra functionality. I'm giving you this journey for one reason. If to say I'm going to be the entrepreneur or leader of a mid-sizeness and put yourself back in the day of the BlackBerry when iPhone and Android came along, I won't need all of this extra stuff. You could still today have a BlackBerry which will make a telephone, have your contacts, receive your business emails, and do not much more. But you would miss out on all of the richness that we have from modern technology. And then if you were to swap that device, very latest Android or iPhone, it would quite literally blow your, wow, it can do so much more. This, the jump, you could stay in the way we've done things for a long time, or you could talk to people like myself and the amazing people on our team, and we'll give you a glance, just a glimpse behind the curtain of what everybody's world will feel like in 5 years' time. Is beneficial to start thinking about small steps to get there early? Yes. Do it proportionately. You have a teeny budget, doing not a lot. It's a brilliant plan. You don't need to take a gigantic step and commit a huge amount. This would be the takeaway.
Simon, thank you very much. And it's great having you today.
Likewise, thank you. Thank you.